Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we will be dissecting
The Nun, Annabelle Creation, and The Nun 2.
Let's get possessed.
The Nun. It starts in 1952 with a scene of a church in Romania. There's a corridor with a large number of crosses throughout as two nuns walk down. The older one unlocks and enters the door while the other prays. Soon, the elder nun screams and is flung, showing she is heavily injured. She gives the key to the other nun and tells her she knows what she must do. The nun runs and hides in a room. She knows she must kill herself. The door behind her opens, showing a corridor with some figure moving slowly towards her, but she continues with a rope in hand. As the entity continues through the corridor, the nun walks out the window and hangs herself. What?
I was about to say womp womp, but that's so
dark.
No, that's really dark.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you said it anyway. You still womp womped.
I mean, it is a womp womp, but it's a dark womp womp.
It is a very dark womp womp.
Okay. Anyway, eventually we meet Frenchie, the individual who found the body of the nun while he was delivering things to the church. Frenchie is asked to help Father Burke and Sister Irene, who were sent to investigate what happened at the church. Later, as they are searching the grounds, they are accosted by the dark and unfortunate souls of the land. Frenchie is attacked by the hanged nun in the ice room where he put her. Father Burke rushes in to help Frenchie, and they set off to find Irene. During the day, Irene finds an actual praying nun that is told by another that she is in constant prayer to protect the evil from escaping. The nun tells Sister Irene the history of the convent and that the Duke of St. Carta wrote dark texts and practiced dark magic which summoned Valak, the demonic creature that haunts the church. The church used the blood of Christ to secure the ritual site and had a nun constantly in prayer to keep the seal from breaking, until the war and bombs fell.
The nuns of the convent all come together and pray in order to push back against the demon. Unfortunately, it is all for naught, as the nuns are swiftly killed by the entity. As Frenchie and Father Burke arrive to help Irene, she tries to explain that she was praying with the nuns to keep the evil away, but it is revealed that the nuns were already dead. It is now up to the trio to seal away and stop the demon. Sister Irene is given her rights and becomes an official nun, as she had not taken her vows before coming on this investigation. Sister Irene, who has been having strange visions, uses her gift to find the blood of Christ, which was sealed in a hidden location. The group takes the vial and heads down into the depths of the convent. The three get separated, and as Irene is searching, she is soon overcome by the creature and is possessed. Frenchie then finds Irene, and before the creature can kill him, he spreads the blood on his hand and across her face to release her from the demon's grasp. Spoiler warning, skip ahead.
Sister Irene is thrown into a room filled with water. She spots the vial containing the blood of Christ floating at the surface, but she is attacked by the demon. Just as the demon believes she is dead, Valak raises her from the water, and Sister Irene spits the blood on the creature's face, defeating it. Or so they think. As the team is ready to leave, it is revealed that Frenchie has the symbol of an upside-down cross in his neck, clearly made by the demon. We flash to 20 years later, as Ed and Lorraine Warren are giving a lecture on exorcism. The video they are playing is of Frenchie being exorcised.
The end. Alrighty.
We're back, guys.
Hell yeah, we're back.
Okay.
With a slightly different format. So going forward for the rest of the year, it's going to be a little different. We will be, obviously, like we were saying, it's going to be a year of franchises. So that means we will be having shorter film sections and kind of shorter notes since we have multiple films we'll be doing. Just like in the beginning, in this one, there are 3 different movies. So we're kind of spacing them out. So we'll go into our notes and things like that, and then we'll move on to the next movie.
Just expect to be sitting on some franchises for a little while. So
yeah. This whole year,
Get
year
comfy.
of franchises, my
Get
dudes.
comfy.
Yeah, be aware of the new kind of setup we've got going on.
Yes.
For this one. Alrighty, so this film was released September 7th, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
The director is Corinne Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
The story's by James Wan and Gary Doberman. Distributed by Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. Pictures. Their budget was $22 million.
Box office was crazy.
Was fucking insane.
Crazy.
It was $366 million.
Oh, I think that's the most
that we've gotten so far.
Maybe? I actually don't know that.
We'd have to go and look, but it's
the most that a Conjuring movie has ever made in the box office.
Yes. Because that was a crazy film.
Yeah. Yes, it was. I remember watching in theaters. I went for my birthday, like I do. All things spooky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has an hour and a half runtime, 96 minutes.
Not bad.
No. But what shocked me the most was the fact that this movie, despite its box office amount, only got a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm sorry. What did you just say?
24% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That doesn't feel right.
But it is.
That doesn't feel like that makes any fucking sense. I mean, it's been a really long time, so it's had a really long time to ruminate with like reviews and shit. But like, that still doesn't feel right.
And like, even with my 1-star reviews, like there aren't that many bad ones. So it's like,
so who panned this? Who decided that it was like a pan?
Okay, never mind. I take that back. There are a few weird things about it,
but like, okay. I don't think we've ever had a film so far that was that low.
That low, yeah. And there have been some. Oh wait, what was?
No, all of them.
Even Would You Rather, I think,
had a higher score.
A higher score than this.
And that fucking movie was shit.
I don't really know why it was like this. I love this movie.
Yeah,
I've
seen
it a lot of times. Not everyone agrees, but that's fine. I just don't understand how it made that much in the box office and then has that kind of rating.
Yeah, that feels like there's something weird going on there.
Yeah. But with that, we have our main actors. Mm-hmm. Again, I will never know how to pronounce their names, but we're going to try.
We will try.
You think we would look this up, but no. We just... That's going to be the running joke of this whole thing.
It's the magic of us.
Yes.
Attempting
first,
to say names.
I'm going to attempt it. It's Tessa Farminga. I know Farminga.
Yeah.
Farminga's easy. But she is Sister Irene. We have Bonnie Aarons as the demon nun.
Hell yeah.
Jonas Bloquet as Frenchie or Maurice. And Demian Bichir as Father Burke. I probably
we'll go with that.
Butchered
that
all
name.
Of those names, but you know, that's okay.
Oh, fuck.
That's okay.
That's so funny. Oh, I enjoy this. Anyway,
well, I hope so.
It definitely feels like it's been a while, but like not at the same time.
Yeah, it feels like we're getting back into it a little bit.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
bear with us.
Yeah. So most of the time when I've seen how long films take to be created, I feel like it's like a couple of months.
Yeah.
Which is shocking because you'd think, you know, with how
it might be a little longer.
That it'd be longer, but they're actually like maybe 3 months max.
Well,
to
like film
like the normal, like to film the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah, filming that makes sense to me because then you go into post production and like you got to do all that stuff, and that is usually the bulk of everything.
The filming for The Nun only took 38 days.
Wow. Well, I mean that makes sense to me.
Like they weren't going to a bunch of different fucking locations.
There was like what
There was
three,
one
like one main
prominent
location,
and then a couple like
a few
spots,
like spots that only had like a few minutes in the shot. Like,
yeah,
I think there was like a Vatican scene. There was obviously the convent that Irene was at beforehand.
Yeah.
And then
like
their little village.
little like trainy spot when they were like, bye.
Yeah, and Frenchie's like house village area.
Yeah.
Like not a whole lot. So yeah, but like 90% of the movie is
the convent
in Romania.
So their sets were kind of interesting because the big climactic-y set, the one with the water, was a giant water tank.
That's cool.
And it was kind of crazy because there was someone I looked up and they were able to like go in and see the different sets and stuff like that and kind of experience them. So from the outside, they would look just like these giant, like very blank facades. And then when they went inside, they couldn't tell the difference between like they had like elaborate spiraling dungeon staircases. Yeah. It was damp, mildewy smelling, and
Gross.
There was even like a chill running through the air.
I would get sick immediately.
And they had like water dripping down the walls and pooling in the center of the floor, so they had like the right atmosphere for it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they on the shoot, so it's basically they were shooting for almost 8 weeks, so they'd been shooting and doing stuff for 8 weeks, but the total number of days that I think they filmed was
because you also have to like
days.
set up and
yes,
yeah, that makes sense,
and like set up all the different things and things like that. So, and also makeup and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Farminga, she was like, we've been shooting, it's almost been 8 weeks now, and it was 4 nights into like one of their times, and she let like her guard down, and she had a really terrible night's sleep and had a hard time letting herself like relax to go to sleep. And it was right after they shot the scene
in the water
because it's a beautiful set, and obviously it's filled with water, and it had stunt scenes, and it was like an emotional and demonic scene.
Yeah.
And she was like, I like had, after we shot that scene, I had like difficulty sleeping.
Wow.
Which was pretty crazy.
Toll. The evil entered her body.
Yeah. And she like, it's the defeating of things, you know, like thinking you defeated it.
Yeah. But it's not really gone.
God. And it just gets worse later. Haha.
Oof.
The film set designer Jennifer Spence, who had been on multiple different films from Insidious Chapter 2 to Annabelle Creation, which is our next one, and Lights Out, and basically like
all really good.
The vast majority of the Paranormal Activity series she had worked on.
Wow. So
they had to have a pool that was deep enough so that the nun could go right under the water, but they also had to have like some structural stuff so that it was like structurally sound.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that there was lots of stunts and stunt work being done in this enormous location. And
do you know how big it was?
I didn't get any dimensions, but it's a pretty big place.
Big old fish tank.
Essentially. But it's also like, it's a really large space, but it's meant to look like a really contained undercroft kind of area where that whole showdown happens. And I guess in the early drawings of Corinne's sketches, which he does a lot, I guess, when they were filming and first prepping, because he's, I guess, a really good drawer. So he got a lot of tremendous, like, they got vision from it, so they were able to like work with his images.
That's always really helpful as a director, if you can,
when you can draw, and then you could like get all the details that you need, so that when you give it to your set designers, they can actually like fulfill what you're wanting, like it to look like
what you want it to be.
It came down to this like funnel, so the undercroft feels like it's actually under the castle, like somewhere. There's this area where all the evil comes out of. So that's how it's got to be the shape that it is.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of circular feeling. And then obviously the aspect of the nuns, like architecture and everything like that, is a Gothic aesthetic. It's got that like Gothic feel to it.
Yes.
And it sets it apart from most contemporary and suburban settings of other films in the Conjuring franchise in general.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's definitely...
It sets itself apart.
When it came out, like, it definitely was different. Like, the most different.
Yeah.
From any of the other movies that we had seen so far.
Yeah, because it's, you know, it transports the audience to a remote and decaying Carta monastery in Romania.
And, like, most movies in this franchise, like, there's a lot of other people.
Yes.
So you don't feel as secluded, but in this, like,
there's only, like,
a handful of people.
Of individuals.
And, like, then you find out that
the people that you thought were
alive
or not.
never even there to begin with.
Exactly.
So it's very creepy.
And even they were saying that this kind of remote feeling creates a palpable sense of isolation and foreboding.
Yeah.
Because the crumbling stone walls, the shadowy corridors, and the dimly lit chambers of the monastery contribute to the film's eerie atmosphere.
All super creepy, yes.
Because the director, Hardy, use of Gothic architecture for the set design adds a layer of historical depth, making The Nun feel like a period piece, which is a stark contrast to the modern day settings of the other films in the series.
For sure.
So it has this, like, historical quality to it that the other ones have a more, like, you can relate closer to the other ones.
Yeah, because it's definitely closer in time period and just how modern it is versus,
exactly.
You know.
And it's even just fascinating that the idea of the fact that, so semi-side note, but not really, we're going to inform you guys right now. The films and the order that we're doing them is in chronological order.
Yes.
Not in release order.
Mm-hmm. Which is why it's starting with The
Nun.
Nun. Because this happens in 1952. Which honestly even feels like it goes back even earlier than that.
Yeah. But it's definitely like, all of the films we're following, depending on, like, if we're only doing a handful of them, it will be in chronological order.
Yeah.
And you will find that out real fast based on how we're watching the films.
Yeah. So, like, every franchise we do, just expect it. Because we like timelines.
Yes.
It makes it a lot easier for us.
Follow.
And easier to follow, especially in the podcast. If we're, like, going in timeline order, it's easier for you guys to follow as well.
Exactly.
So that we're not jumping around everywhere trying to figure out what came when.
And you can also you can feel the connection between the films. Like, you can see the progression of time. It's interesting that the next one is Annabelle Creation and then The Nun 2.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. Because
you'd
think that both of the nuns would be, and then we would get Annabelle Creation. So it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So one of obviously, the big weapon of power is the blood of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And basically
I want to know
what?
How they got that. Like,
the idea to use it? Or
no.
In the universe, who fucking found the blood of fucking Christ?
No, I want to know who decided to take the blood from him, from his veins, and put it into a vial and hide it somewhere. Whose idea was that?
I guarantee you there's something written somewhere about someone who did it.
Or did it happen after he died? Like, did they take his blood when he was dead? I would assume it's probably,
like, the hanging on the cross moment. Because he'd been stabbed at that point.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I probably should have looked that up. How did they get the blood of Christ?
You know? So, obviously...
Is that a real relic? You know what?
I guarantee you it is.
Hold.
Because it's like a main part of the story. You're, like, told about it fairly early.
Blood of Christ, also known as the most precious blood in Christian theology, refers to the physical blood actually shed by Jesus Christ primarily on the cross.
Knew it.
Yes. And the salvation which Christianity teaches was accomplished thereby, or the sacramental blood, wine, present in the
Eucharist. Is that the word?
Yes, that's the word.
Fuck yeah, it was. I knew it.
Or the Lord's Supper. So
I'm not even Christian. I just know that it's Eucharist.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Sorry. To you Christian folk who listen to us, we love you.
I just know how it's pronounced.
It says, "Where's the Jesus Christ blood kept?" It says the Basilica of the Holy Blood. Yeah, that's what it says.
It doesn't say like who, speculates who was the one who took it in the beginning.
Christ's blood is preserved in a Belgian town. Yeah, the Basilica of the Holy Blood. A 12th century chapel in the medieval town of Bruges, Belgium, which houses a revered vial containing cloth stained with the actual blood of Christ from when he was hung on the cross. But it doesn't say anything about
like who would have. Well, it's probably
who had the bright idea
to be like, well, I'm gonna just get a little bit of this.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like obviously after that long, blood would be not
a thing. But we also have to take in the supernatural element
and how he's holy and Jesus.
So it's kind of think about it in D&D terms. Magical artifacts cannot be destroyed.
Yeah. If you are a D&D
unless it's
person like us.
Unless you do like some crazy shit to destroy that artifact, but usually very magical artifacts in D&D cannot be broken.
Yeah.
So
I just didn't know, but apparently it's a cloth
that has
his blood on it that's in a vial. So it's a real thing. It's a real relic.
Yeah.
But it's in Belgium.
But the one in the show,
a convent in Romania.
The one in the movie is like a legit ass vial of actual blood.
Like
in like a glass thing.
Like liquidy. You could shake it and it's all.
There was a during Halloween time last year when Spirit Halloween was out, there was a like a framed image of that.
Oh.
And it said break.
Oh, yeah.
Break if needed, and there was like a crack in the thing. Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, so obviously, because this is a very religious and faith-themed film, and it's central to the plot, it can combat malevolent forces. So the combination of like religious symbols with horror elements is what makes The Nun a unique entry into the Conjuring series.
No, for sure.
As it explores more of the supernatural from a more spiritual perspective.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting because I feel like it helps even later stuff with the Conjuring series in general, because it kind of explains more things. And there's this like really dark, fucked up. And now there's some cool shit. We'll get to it when we get to doing and talking about The Nun 2. But there's some fascinating shit that kind of explains more things now about the quote-unquote chronological process of the Conjuring films in regards to how it became so powerful. So
yeah, and we will discuss that in this episode.
Because the initial Nun film, like, yes, scary, powerful, feels demonic. But there's like, but it feels like it's a demon who's like just, you know, trying to lash out and
wreak havoc.
So there's definitely like a intent in the next one. So what you got for me?
Well, speaking of Valak and this demonic presence, I just wanted to do some research on Valak
in general.
Yeah. Who Valak is, where in history they come from. And yes, it's a demon, but in description terms, like the actual demon itself.
Yeah. The non-Conjuring universe.
In the non-Conjuring universe, apparently he's a tiny baby.
What?
A tiny baby with angel wings who rides a two-headed dragon. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be scared of that?
Yes.
Yeah. The Conjuring made a very scary Valak.
Well, that's because it was that was the version that it was allowing other people to see.
Well, yeah, because it's also the idea of it's mocking.
Yeah, mocking and also testing your faith and all of that. But yeah, it's a baby with angel wings who rides a two-headed dragon. So, and he has a lot to do with serpents and gives answers about hidden treasures.
Okay.
That's pretty much what the description was.
Interesting. So in like a weird turnaround way, both of the Nun films kind of implement that aspect, just with the idea of like them finding the blood of Christ, like it's a treasure.
Yeah.
So there's that element of like finding treasure.
And what's interesting to me is, we'll get into it. In both of the Nun films, Valak uses the image of a little boy.
Yes.
In both of them.
Yes.
So that's also interesting. So the fact that they took Valak, who is actually a male demon, as so he is depicted, but made it more feminine.
Yeah,
is really
made it a
interesting
nun
to
is
me.
interesting.
Yeah.
And Bonnie, you killed it. The fucking nun is terrifying.
Yes.
Congrats.
Agreed.
You do a fucking bang up job.
Mm-hmm.
Through all of the movies.
And I think it's funny because a lot of people make the joke of like, damn, I'd be so hurt if I were picked to play a
like
demon, monster-looking thing.
Like the villain.
Just because of my nose.
Nah, man. Her jawbone is...
Crazy.
Her face...
She's beautiful.
She's fucking stunning. Have you seen her? Oh my God. She
like,
is... You could cut things with her cheeks.
Yes.
She is... got such a intense...
It's so long and narrow and just like so dimensional.
She is a Renaissance painting waiting to happen.
Which makes sense why they picked her for the nun.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It is. It really is. She can play evil and beautiful very well.
Because even the nun has like, when it's not in its like really scary forms, there's this really porcelain, like calm visual to it. So it's
unless it is attacking you,
then it is absolutely fucking terrifying.
Yes. One of the most scary scenes for me, I think, is in The Conjuring 2, I want to say, and it involves Valak when we're first like introduced. I hate it so much; it's so scary. But
yeah,
we'll talk about that.
There's a lot of fascinating scenes that involve Valak that is throughout all of the films.
What I will say, they showed us that one scene that I'm talking about in Conjuring 2.
Yeah. And
then they kind of just stuck with that being Valak's shtick. Like popping out of paintings.
It's a cool fucking scene.
It is.
It's a cool fucking concept.
A lot.
Yes.
They do it a lot. And then it becomes a little predictable. I will say. Yeah. That is one thing I will say.
Yeah.
As much as I love the Conjuring series, they just kind of took one thing and ran with it.
Well, that is why I think I liked the one thing that had to do with in the Nun 2, because it was so different.
It was,
and different. I loved that.
It was
such
similar,
a cool fucking concept.
But it was, agreed. So now I'm going to talk about a little bit of the history of Valak and where they come from. I think most people would probably know this history because it's pretty basic. But even if you aren't religious in any way, Valak was an angel.
Yep.
Before they became a demon, and once Lucifer rebelled against God.
Yep.
He gathered a whole bunch of other angels to come with him.
Yep.
And while Lucifer became Satan, Valak and a bunch of the other angels he brought with him became demons.
Yes.
That is the history. So Valak was stripped of angel status and all of their special powers that they had as an angel.
Yeah, because there's a very different aspect of abilities based on...
What I thought was really cool was that we have a little bit of a connection here with a different movie that we've talked about. So I don't know if anybody remembers me talking about The Lesser Key of Solomon, which is basically a book about demons.
Yeah, I know The Lesser Key of Solomon. I know that, yes.
Yeah, so Payman is in this book. I've mentioned this before, and so is Valak.
Oh,
Valak is also in this book. In this book, there are 72 different demons.
Wow.
And Valak is only listed as 62. So he's kind of really low on the roster.
Is the book like, does it list it in like most powerful to least powerful?
That's my thinking, cuz like,
or is it alphabetical?
You know, I didn't even think about that.
Cuz alphabetical could explain why that's in the back, yeah.
It's because it says it's an encyclopedia. It's an encyclopedia,
which would be alphabetical.
So, but Valak is so...
Well, yeah, because it starts with a V.
Yeah.
So if it's an encyclopedia, so it's by alphabetical.
There's 10 more demons with W, X, Y, and Z?
Do or maybe more comprehend
V's? I get the
how religion works?
What do you mean?
And they just put letters in places.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then make a pronunciation that doesn't feel like it makes sense.
That's okay. In this encyclopedia, it gives a description on how to banish each of these demons if you were to encounter them.
It's a Fantastic Beast and where to find them, but just like demon.
Basically, yeah. It was written by S.L. McGregor Mathers. That's who it was written by, just in case, you know. So basically, they said it in the movie, but I'm going to restate it just, you know, to give some more background. We have the St. Carta Monastery, and it was built in Romania by a duke in the 1200s.
Yep.
It was built by a duke in the 1200s. He became obsessed with dark magic and Satan and decided to do some rituals to summon demons. Because he's stupid.
Yep.
But as he was doing that, he was then killed by the Knights Templar.
Gotcha. So he made a demonic, like a satanic monastery?
Basically. Yeah.
Gotcha. And the Knights Templar are classic, and they're like,
I think it's interesting.
we don't like you, fuck you, you die.
That's at least the story.
Oh, yeah.
So basically he built it and then decided to summon some things. And then the Knights Templar killed him and then sealed off the thing with the blood of Christ.
Yes.
That's at least the story in The Nun. And then some of it has some truth to it, like years later it being bombed by World War II.
Yes.
But then that being the reason that the evil spirit was released from its imprisonment.
Yeah.
Is because of the bombs.
Yeah, because it cracked the foundations and stuff.
I want to talk a little bit about the Knights Templar, just a little bit. Because I had no idea who these people were.
Well, you didn't know about the Knights Templar?
Okay, I feel like so stupid every time I do research. My dad was like,
"You're not an Ancient Aliens or Ancient History kid.
I'm
not on the same level as I was.
I'm just not." But even my dad was like, "You don't know who Wes Craven is?" I do now.
Oh my, yeah. When you said that you did not know who Wes Craven was, I was like, when you were like, who? I was like, what? What just happened?
He came to me, he was like, what are you saying right now? I know who he is now. All right? I know now.
We will have Wes Craven films later on in the year.
Yes. Yes. There is one Wes Craven film I want to watch. It's called Red Eye. Apparently it's about being on a flight. It's like a psychological thriller. That's so off topic, but...
So off topic.
You see what I mean? I'm learning, I'm growing. I want to... seek
you need
out
to get
Wes
on the
Craven
History Channel
now.
and just watch some weird shit.
I'm more into fantasy and fake things. So.
Well, you know, if you watched them, you'd feel like that real fast.
That's fair. So basically, the Knights Templar, if you don't know who they are, they were endorsed by the Roman Catholic Church in the 1100s.
Yep, they are religious warriors.
Yes, they are religious warriors. They are very distinct with white mantles and a red cross. And they were the most skilled fighters of the Crusades.
Hell yeah, they were.
So that's who they are. And they have
fuck people up.
And there are different groups of them in like each country.
Yeah.
You know, for obvious reasons.
Yes.
So that's them. I did some research on the actual St. Carta Monastery.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know like actual history about that. So it was formed in the 1200s and is the oldest Gothic church in Eastern Europe.
Cool.
That actually stands. And
maybe one day we'll have to go check it out.
Yes, I was literally thinking about this. Yeah. I was thinking about this because once I read that it is believed to be one of the most haunted places of all of Romania.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I was like, yeah, we're going to go make some ghost friends.
But we are also fucking getting blessed and also cleansed right after.
Well, yeah, that's why we have your mom and my dad. So during the medieval times, monks lived here, worked here, did their things. They would wake up at 3 a.m. every morning to work, hard labors. They didn't have very much food. They lived in very small living areas, and life expectancy didn't go above the age of 40.
Yep.
So it was very rough during that time, and that's why there are so many people buried there.
Yeah.
And like their bodies are still there to this day. Obviously, why would you dig that up?
Yeah.
Just leave them there. And although it has never been haunted by a nun, there have been many, many reports of poltergeist activity happening around there. And I saw some pictures, and it actually is really beautiful. So
yeah. That's pretty
but,
awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
You got me some 1-star
one-star reviews? I do. But after I give a jump scare count.
Yes, a new little thing. When we are able to find out how many jump scares there are in a film, we will let you know how many.
Yes. Some of them, one of them I don't know.
Not all of them have them listed.
But now I know for future reference that when we watch horror films,
we can count them.
I'm going to keep count, and then we're also going to tell you.
Because the one you don't know is the one that we literally just like rewatched.
Yeah. So for this movie, there were 21 jump scares.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
That is a lot.
For an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's like...
That is a lot.
One every...
Like 5...
Quick math.
5-10 minutes?
That's a jump scare every 4 minutes.
Damn.
That's a jump scare every 4 minutes, just about.
Wow.
So
essentially like every 4 to 5 minutes, we'd get a new jump scare.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And obviously some aren't as intense as others.
Yes.
Like, so you're not actually going to really jump, but it is a scare that happens. So
whether it's subtle or very intentional.
What was your...
what would be considered the worst scare in that film for me?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has. I'm also trying to think because there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know. Shit. I'm also trying not to mix up my movie jump scares.
Mm-hmm. I can let you know because I've seen these movies enough.
I don't know, man.
For me, the one that gets me every time.
Yeah.
And it's really stupid too. It's not even like a huge one, I don't think. But it might be. It's when Frenchie's running through is it Frenchie? Is Frenchie the one running through the graveyard?
Yes.
And
I was about to say that,
and then he sees a nun, and it drops on him from the tree.
Yes.
Oh, it gets me every time. And I know it's there, but it still hurts. So,
I guess something that's... Because I was going to say that similar.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
I was like, isn't there like a nun in a graveyard?
Yeah. Yes.
But something that's... I feel like was a really unsettling scene in that was the mirror scene where she's standing in front of that like massive fucking mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see
the nun. Yeah.
And it's almost like it's...
So she's in the little... she's in the church area of the
kind of like
monastery,
the chapel-y church
area. And there's like a giant Jesus statue.
Yes.
And she like walks from behind her in the mirror towards the Jesus statue and then like knocks it over.
Yes.
It's really scary.
It's a really fascinating point.
Yes.
But yeah.
So yeah, I have some 1-star reviews for you.
Of you and about you.
Yes.
So be ready.
I thought this was so funny because, let me just read it. Maybe you'll find it funny too. This movie is misogynistic to assume that women with masculine features are fearful. Women are capable of being fearful regardless of their appearance. The filmmaker's decision to make the nun appear as masculine as possible is likely a reflection of their own cultural biases about what constitutes femininity and masculinity. This is a harmful stereotype that can contribute to the marginalization and discrimination of women with masculine features. Did you watch the movie?
Clearly you don't know the history of the actual demon. As we
like
literally
it
just
actually
said,
is a man.
Yeah.
It's a male demon, which obviously not a whole lot of people know that.
No, not a lot of people would know that.
But even without that part.
Who cares?
I disagree here.
I disagree hardcore.
Like, to me, demons, honestly, don't really have a gender. Even though he is depicted as male, like, I don't think demons...
They can be whatever
to constructs such as gender. They are whatever they want to be. They can take the form of whatever they want.
It's the idea. It's a similar concept, like the idea that a lot of people think that incubuses and succubuses are two different creatures.
Yeah.
In reality, 9 times out of 10, they're the same creature. They just alter their appearance based on the person they're going after.
Yeah. And what their desires might be.
Exactly. So it's that concept. Like they're just...
I think, here's the thing.
They're whatever they want to be.
Obviously, when you're making a movie, and it's a horror type thing...
Yeah. You are going to intentionally have a little bit of
You're going to have
sway.
it... You're going to take away some of that beautification...
Yeah.
That she would have. And one way to do that, is to... not accentuate probably her more, like, as we were saying, like, she's a very beautiful person, like, in real life.
Fucking
so
stunning.
in order to, like, make it not as prominent, you're gonna have to decrease some of those features and turn it into something darker and scarier. And
but like, even just like I was saying, she's still like the nun figure, the nun character, when not in its scariest form, still has like a ethereal beauty.
yeah.
Because it's also that concept that it also was once an angel. It was,
And you see that in The Nun too.
you definitely see that in the nun too.
Yes.
That is a very prominent piece. I feel like you get more, like, even though the nun character does not speak, it feels like you get to know the nun creature more in the second film.
Yeah, you get to know their history a little more and what they're after, and
like
kind of
why they
do what they do.
Exactly.
But so while I agree with you that women don't need to be masculine to be fearful, that's obviously true, but that's not the main takeaway from this movie.
And there are so many movies that have female villains that are just very feminine.
Very feminine.
And are like, I'm gonna fucking ruin your day.
So I don't like that this person just attacked so hard onto that. Like, that seems like some inner stuff.
Yeah.
You might want to deal with. If you are a woman, I'm sure you are very beautiful. I'm sure. There are so many, you know.
Yeah.
Who cares what social media says?
Exactly.
All women are beautiful. Nothing can define a woman nowadays. Like,
yeah, nothing can really
defines a woman. It's just how you feel and who you feel you are. So
being a woman is how you feel.
And power to us.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, let's get off that. The next person said, coming from someone who doesn't know anything about religion, this movie is confusing. Duh.
No shit.
First of all, it's not scary and the effects and makeup are horrendous. Not a good horrendous. It looks low quality. The movie is boring and long stretched out and not scary, and it was horrible. I don't suggest. If you want to watch the Conjuring movies, skip this one.
I think that's wrong.
I don't think you should skip movies within a franchise because you're not
They're
going to
all
get all the
important.
information. I mean, okay.
Do you not remember the fucking Marvel bullshit where if you missed any of the fucking movies, you were fucking
lost.
on the, like, missing shit?
I will say things like Friday the 13th.
Girl,
and
we're
some
fucking
Halloween
get there.
movies. That's a different case.
I love the Halloween films. Like, for real. I love the Halloween films. The first one is really slow. But the point is it's the same concept as this one. It's suspenseful. Suspense does not mean, even though there are 21 scares, just because...
I think there were only like 5 major scares.
None of them are... Raw, I'm gonna get you. No, they're subtle. They're, as the character walks away, it's behind them. It's...
like those kinds of,
a visage of something happening. You know, they're not meant... Not every horror film has to be up in your face with the fear.
Correct.
So the other big problem, it's kind of like, again, because we're D&D people, I'm going to reference D&D. It's a difference between role play and combat. Some people love combat.
Yeah.
Some people love role play.
I love the role play part.
I love the role play. I'm not that big of a fan of combat.
Same.
I'm okay with combat, but here's the difference. My mom loves combat, is not a big fan of role play. Like, she likes it, but
she's been doing so good
thing.
with the role play.
Because when we watch Critical Role, she's more likely to fall asleep or not pay as much attention to when they're role playing than when they're doing combat.
That's
Whereas
so
it's
weird.
the opposite for me.
I get so invested in their stories. And
then
stuff.
when they're doing combat, I'm more likely to become distracted by doing something else.
I'm that girl who, when I play video games,
the story is my fucking life.
I play combat on easy. That's what I do. And if I ever, who knows, maybe if I ever have a video game channel,
Yes.
That might not happen, but you never know.
If we ever have our own Twitch channels and things like that,
Yeah,
it will definitely.
But I hope
video
you guys
gaming.
know I will be playing for the plot line, not the combat.
Yes.
And
so we are not Dark Souls people.
So-
you will not get us in that realm.
So I'm giving you guys a hint because y'all are the podcast listeners. But I will never tell the Twitch people that I'm playing on easy. They're just gonna think I'm gods, just ripping through these people.
Oh, girl, they will immediately when you start the game, and they'll be like, "Ah, yes, she selected easy.
She selected easy." Yeah. What if I just
I'm a normal
fight
girly
to make it look like
I'm a normal girly.
Mm-hmm.
I go balanced. I go whatever the creator of the game says. Like, this is the best for the most balanced experience.
I used to be that person, but I realized I'm really bad at combat. So, no.
Whereas I'm a little bit different than you. And also I think I play a little bit different games than you.
Probably.
But I think you would like some of the games that I play.
Yeah. That was just weird to me. I mean, obviously if you know nothing about this about religion,
it's going to be
confusing because
but it's still a beautiful film, and the quality even now is not bad. 2018 to now is not that bad. Like, watching it back.
Oh, yeah, no.
The graphics look fine, and the
it's
makeup
only been
looks great.
5-6 years?
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
Fucking go back to 2000 and watch a movie from then.
Yeah. Okay, the last 1-star review I thought was hilarious. I just had to save it for last. I would say Monster House is scarier, mostly because I have PTSD from seeing it when I was 4, but that's a different story. Honestly, same.
I love Monster House. I played the video game too. That shit was good.
Yeah. This should be rated as a PG movie at a push. Although, Valak is really hot, and no one can tell me different. In this case, is it a romance movie? The Nun 2 should be about me and Valak in a romance movie.
Wait, was that actually the review?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay. I mean, everyone can be horny for whatever they want to be horny for.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Valak is sexy, and that's why I'm mad at that other comment for being like, masculine. Okay.
Clearly, you're just not the type.
If this dude can like Valak,
well, then
clearly
you don't have to be judgmental towards their appearance.
Right. Yeah. I think Valak's kind of sexy.
Especially in the second movie. Facts.
Yeah?
That fucking look after the like, bing, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Yup.
That like smirk of like, haha, fuckers. I'm like,
yup.
I get it.
Especially when it's coming out of the painting looking like a little shark. Grinds my gears.
That's just so funny.
Grinds my gears.
Oh, that is so effing funny.
So, yeah.
So that was The Nun. So that means now we are officially on to Annabelle Creation.
This story takes place in 1950s California. The Mullins family get a flat tire on their way back from church. While trying to change the tire, Mr. Mullins drops a tool and it rolls into the road. Annabelle, their daughter, decides to run after the tool to retrieve it, but instead gets hit by a car, killing her. Many years later, the couple feels that their house is too empty and offers to host a group of orphan girls. After everyone has settled in, one of the girls, Janice, finds a note with the message, "Find me." Janice is then drawn to a locked room that used to be Annabelle's. Once she goes in, she finds a key in a dollhouse that replicates the actual house they are in. In the dollhouse, she sees a small door that mimics another door in the room she's in. Janice unlocks that door, revealing a doll in a rocking chair, surrounded by Bible pages glued to the wall.
Very fucking creepy. That reveal is
terrifying.
Unfucking settling.
Especially with the way the doll looks.
Yes. There's a later scene and I'm just like, I don't need you looking at me. Okay, thanks, bye. Without knowing, Janice has now unleashed a malevolent spirit that begins to torment everyone in the house. While playing hide and seek, one of the orphan girls, Linda, hides in a cupboard under the stairs. She spots the doll in the corner as a demon grabs the doll and rips it backwards. Linda, scared out of her mind, falls out of the small space and the demon disappears. In another instance, 2 of the orphan girls are up late, hiding under a blanket and making fun of Miss Mullins. When they hear a noise, suddenly the girls get attacked and grabbed by the face by the demon. When they try to see who grabbed them, no one was there. Janice, however, is targeted the most by the demon. When trying to go up the stairs using the stair lift, Janice is thrown out of her seat by the demon and falls to the floor, causing her to be put in a wheelchair. While trying to enjoy some time outside, an unseen entity posing as Sister Charlotte pushes Janice's wheelchair into the workshop. Janice is then chased and attacked by the demon, who possesses her. Spoiler warning, skip ahead.
Since Janice has been acting different, her bestie Linda takes notice and speaks to Mr. Mullins. She tells Mullins about the doll, who is immediately frightened and goes to search for Janice. He goes into the dining room where the doll, also known as Annabelle, is sitting at the head of the table. Now under the demon's control, Janice comes into the room and transforms into the demon, killing Mr. Mullins.
Fucking terrifying.
I had literal chills. You paused it on that section where she's turning into it, and I literally was cowering in the corner.
It gave me inspiration for my photography thesis. So yeah,
Yes.
hell yeah. It's a great ass scene. It's fucking terrifying.
Which I'm so honored to have
Taken up that position.
Yeah. Go, Janice, go. Anyway, later that night, Linda starts to put clues together and realizes that the doll is responsible for all of the mayhem. While Janice is sleeping, Linda takes the Annabelle doll outside and tries to throw her in the well. But the Annabelle doll reappears in the house, causing Sister Charlotte to go speak with Mrs. Mullins about what is happening. Mrs. Mullins is terrified, but eventually tells her that when the couple lost their daughter, they believed her spirit asked permission to go into the doll. The situation was not as they thought, and instead allowed a demon to enter the doll. The demon attacked Mrs. Mullins, causing them to lock the doll up in their daughter's room.
Later, Mrs. Mullins is found, ripped in half, hanging on the wall.
Grody.
Really fucking gross.
Like her guts are like out.
Yeah, full on. And has her hands like in crucifixion position with fucking crosses.
Mm-hmm.
Linda runs and hides from Janice in Annabelle's prison, where Annabelle is sitting in the rocking chair. I don't like that scene.
No, because you don't know she's in
around
there.
And just the Annabelle doll is just like full on staring you in the eyes, and you're just like, I don't want it. And you 100% agree with her when she fucking walks over and fucking moves her face over.
Yeah.
I don't want you to stare at me anymore. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
Janice finds Linda and knocks her to the ground. But before she can do any harm, Sister Charlotte comes in, puts a rosary around her neck, and locks her in the prison. The house starts to shake and lights flicker. The police show up and check the small room to find Janice missing with a hole in the wall where she must have escaped. The house is blessed and the doll is taken away. We then see a couple at an orphanage who adopts Janice, who is now calling herself Annabelle. 12 years later, Annabelle comes home and kills her parents in the middle of the night when the neighbors start to investigate. The end. Alrighty, so
I'm not gonna lie. Out of all of the Conjuring films, this one was one of the scariest. For me, personally. I don't know about anyone else, but it's got some things.
It's got some fucking things.
It's got some things. I think I'm going to start with the jump scare count right now.
Right now? Go for it.
23.
Damn. How long is the movie?
It is 109 minutes, so it's pretty lengthy. It's almost like 2 hours.
I Yeah, but like still, that's
That is
fucking
still a
lot.
lot. Because the scares that were in it were
Yes.
scary.
Yes.
Scary.
They did not let up.
They did not play. There was the well scene.
Oh, yeah.
Where the hands grab her and pull her in. Cupboard freaked me out because
cupboard
it was
is
literally
freaky.
sitting there behind her. And then you see the demon face. And it's like, oh my God.
The dining room scene is fucking the worst.
Awful. Absolutely awful. When Janice first goes into
Yes.
Annabelle's room, and then like the tiny child with the sheet,
Yes.
and is walking behind her,
Uh-huh.
and then nothing is there. But that was still pretty scary.
The doll sitting on the bed.
Yeah.
The fucking scarecrow.
Oh, the scarecrow scene. But also the one scene where it's Linda, who's in the room upstairs by herself at this point.
Yeah.
And she's like playing with the gun.
Yes.
Like the ball gun. And then she goes to the top bunk and sees the demon in the bottom bunk.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not okay.
That just gave me chills talking about it. Absolutely not. Anyway.
All right. So this movie was released August 11th, 2017.
Yup.
So this was before the previous one that we watched.
Before Annabelle. Or before the Nun.
And then the director is David F. Sandberg, distributed by Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. Pictures. The cinematographer was Maxime Alexander. Music by Benjamin Wallfish.
Again, we'll never know the name.
So I have the box office. Do you know what the budget of the film was? What was it?
15 million. Which is pretty damn good for what they made.
For the fact that they had $306.5 million in the box office.
It's crazy.
Fucking unreal.
That's only 60 million less than The Nun. And 60 million is what a lot of movies just make.
Yes. Yes.
That's just what they make.
That is a fact.
So this is a crazy expensive franchise. They have made buku money.
Oh, hell yeah.
So the fact that this one had 70% on Rotten Tomatoes is a lot better than The Nun.
Not as great, but also
still not amazing.
Yeah.
But, you know. We have our main actors. We have Talitha Bateman as Janice. Lulu Wilson as Linda, which I found out. I was like, I don't know how I never placed this.
What?
But you know my favorite little short series, Hill House.
Yeah.
She is Shirley. She's young Shirley.
Oh.
Yeah. She's one of the kids, one of the 5.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But she has brown hair and it's curly instead of short, straight blonde.
Gotcha.
So I guess it was like really
So it
throwing.
was like, yeah.
It threw me off a lot.
They really look like two different people.
They really do. But she's gorgeous. It's crazy. I don't know how I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We have Anthony LaPaglia. That's what I'm going to say. Anthony LaPaglia as Mr. Mullins. Miranda Otto as Esther Mullins. Also really good. She's been in a lot of horror stuff.
Yeah.
Samara Lee as Annabelle, the young one.
Little B.
Yeah, little B. And that's all I really put because I was
put,
like,
meh. I put
also
Stephanie
Sister Charlotte,
Sigma
right?
as Sister Charlotte.
Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you.
Because she's a very important character.
She is
She's
very
throughout
important.
the whole film.
Especially since I have a theory about that.
Yes, there's a fascinating theory in regards to all of that. But yeah. Actually, there's a really fascinating concept between this and The Nun.
Yeah.
So the production designer, Jennifer Spencer, was working on The Nun while also this was going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because like it only came out a year in between each other. So obviously you're going to have some overlap with production.
Roughly around the same time.
Yeah.
And because like...
Especially with how big both films
are. And they had it was the Gothic farmhouse feel, referencing vintage floor plans, and laid the entire scheme out on the ground to get a sense of the scale that they would have. So the whole story takes place inside the house.
The entire
So they
thing.
wanted it to be like a big space. Yeah. And
Which
she was
makes
saying...
sense why they felt so lonely.
Yes. And she was saying that, like, adding that, every shot was conceived in the original design phase with the set planned and built around the shots. So the set was built around...
That's pretty cool.
...everything else.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really fascinating little tidbit that kind of both were working on it.
Yeah.
And it was... There were ties to the idea... And then I like the fact that they really put the effort into making sure that the set felt vast, but lonely.
Yeah, it definitely did. Especially with how big the farmhouse was, and like it's just a couple and then a demon just hanging with them.
Yes.
And especially with how big their land was.
Yes.
That was huge.
The fucking run that we watch when she takes the fucking Annabelle doll all the way to the fucking well, and it's like just middle of nothingness.
Yeah, there's nothing. Nothing
the
around
well's
them.
just out in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, how far did you fucking run to get here?
Yeah.
Because when you turn around, I don't see the house.
Not
it's
really.
Like, if anything, it's way off in the distance.
It's
like,
way back.
Where did you go?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So, after conferencing about the best way to shoot the prequel, which was this is the prequel to Annabelle.
Yeah.
Which was 2014. I know,
That's crazy.
Annabelle was in 2014. They had...
Wow, 10 years ago?
Yes.
Stop.
Yes,
Oh,
Annabelle is
my gosh.
10 years old.
I'm going to throw up. I was 12? 12? I was 12.
Wow. 2014. Oh, I was
19. You were still a teenager.
I was in high school.
Yup.
Yeah, the production designer and the director created two complete 2-scale sets of the house interior.
Wow.
On stage 26 at Warner Bros. Burbank.
Mm-hmm.
One for each floor.
Oh, okay.
So the building created the perfect alignment of several visual elements. Such completeness was necessary because many of the shots move or point from one room to another. Mm-hmm. Including a very early scene in the film where the excited girls explore the
Is that a one shot?
Entire lower level in a single tracking shot.
Yeah, I love one shots. One shots are they make me so giddy inside.
So the whole point is the house, it had to have very good alignment and visual perspectives because they're literally running through the whole set and it's in one shot.
So if the house is on a lot, how do they get the land? Where was that all?
So I think that they did have a bit of location shoot, but a lot of that can be done inside with special effects.
I'm sure the inside, because you just put green screen on the outside, but the well and being outside for the workshop area.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
That whole thing is just one location other than when they go to church for a second.
Yes.
It's even more so than the Nun, even though the Nun feels way more secluded. It's very strange.
And what's really funny is that Jennifer Spencer, she was like, we've seen enough scary closets in horror films.
Uh-huh.
And so...
But then they proceeded to put
they
two
wanted
scary closets
two central elements. An old-fashioned dumbwaiter and a secret room under the grand staircase.
Yeah, I hate both of those things.
Yeah, that provides some of the most effective scares.
Yeah, yes.
Because I wouldn't quantify the Annabelle room as a closet. It could be.
I feel it was.
It probably was, but it's definitely a fucking prison. It's definitely a prison now.
Yeah.
It didn't get to be a closet for very fucking long. That's really morbid, but no, it did not. It did not get to be a closet for very long.
Yeah, because their kid was only what? How old? She was 7, I think.
Between probably 7 and 8.
She was that young, and then they waited 12 years to invite anybody back. So,
one of the scariest scenes is when Lulu Wilson's character of Linda is trying to escape the possessed Janice.
Yes.
In the house's dumbwaiter, and she ends up in the basement area. So she's disoriented for a second before she realizes that the top half of Esther Mullen's corpse is crumpled up in front of her. And suddenly the bloody-faced corpse springs to life and crawls in an almost inhuman way.
It's disgusting.
Towards her. And she manages to escape at the very last second.
No, literally the last second.
Literally the last mother effing second. But it was actually a later addition to the film.
Well, they did good putting it in.
They had
I want to know how the hell she got into the basement.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Exactly.
Whatever.
So they had that scene shot later with her crawling on the floor because Sandberg assured that there were no digital effects involved whatsoever. There's no digital effects in that scene at all.
What do you mean half of her is missing?
I got to work with an amputee. What? Sandberg said that wasn't CGI.
The thing is, like, I know people who are amputees like that and who do come into horror films and like.
This was 100% no CGI
because
in that
when
scene.
I was looking at the cast, I saw a thing that said Esther Mullen's torso, like a girl who played that. I clicked on it and she had legs.
No, the person who played the torso, she is an amputee. Well, you can have fucking. Do you understand that you can have like lower body part?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like she was walking and standing.
What I'm expressing,
and like had actual.
Well, then they might have
legs.
listed the wrong person. But what I'm saying is that it was not CGI, and they asked, "Can we find someone without legs?" Which obviously freaked everyone out at their office. But they found this woman without legs who was totally up for it, and so, and she was really into it.
Unless I'm crazy.
No, they 100% worked with an amputee. So obviously they found a woman who didn't have legs and was really into it. And she already looked kind of like Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had some blood and hair and stuff stuck to her face to cover it up a little bit. But yeah, that's one of those weird things that they've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Work with amputee people in horror movies because they can do cool things.
It's true. And that's how you expand your...
But I thought that was really interesting because most of the time, usually those kinds of scenes are CGI.
Yeah.
So
which is really...
the fact that it wasn't is even more terrifying because that was an actual person fucking coming at her.
Yeah. I like the fact that they're being more expansive with the types of actors that they use.
Yes.
And not just going off CGI. I'm honestly a CGI hater. I'll be the first to say it. Like,
I don't hate CGI.
In certain aspects, obviously it's important and it's crucial, like with a lot of the stuff in Marvel. But I'm saying nowadays people are taking CGI to another level where it's like way too theatrical.
I think more and more movies and artists are being better about using it as a tool instead of a crutch.
Good. Yes. That's what I like.
Most of the time, because even the newer Avatar film and things like that, they're not using them as a crutch. Mm-hmm. They're using them to enhance. And that's the whole point. That's what that tool is for.
Yeah.
You combine it so that the things that are a little bit more impossible to do as a human being, you can accomplish.
Yes.
So.
Exactly.
But yeah. So what you got?
I have Annabelle demon lore.
Ooh, cool.
So,
because this is a whole other fucking demon in this situation.
This is an entirely different demon named Malthus, also known as Halphus.
Malthus Halphus?
Malthus Halphus. So, this is another demon that is also in the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Gotcha. So they're all just fucking buddies.
Yes. They are number 38.
Gotcha.
In this list.
Which means that they probably use the Halphus.
Yes. Maybe.
Somewhere in there.
I don't know. I'd have to look at it and get back to you guys on whether or not it is alphabetical. It most likely is. So, for Halphus, or Malthus, I'm just going to call him Malthus for...
Yeah, Malthus, yeah.
Because that's what he's known as in this franchise. So, Malthus can turn into either a dove or a stork.
Okay.
So that's what they look like. A dove or a stork. And when they speak, they have a really deep, rough voice.
Okay.
And that's all the description that I got. But Malthus has a lot of cool powers. So one of their powers is construction. So building things.
Weird.
But mainly towers. Mainly builds towers and fills them with weapons.
Gotcha.
And bad things. And armor. And ammunition. So he constructs these things, and then he sends his legions into battle, and that's what he does. He's basically very much, I'm gonna build these weapon things.
Gotcha.
And then,
so he's very war based.
yeah, yes. So it is said that he is a prince of Hinistan, or Jinnistan, probably Jinnistan, the country of the Jinn, or fairyland.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which is also the country of delight and the capital of the city of jewels, which is very interesting. It's divided into two parts. So you have the desert of monsters and the desert of demons. And this all stems from English and Scottish lore.
Gotcha. So the Fae. It's very much like the Fae.
Yeah, very Fae-like. Which kind of makes sense when you talk about storks and doves, because it's very winged creatures and flight, and it kind of reminded me of Howl's Moving Castle a little bit. Like, that's the vision that I got.
Their new Ghibli film features a fucking dude who transforms into a heron.
Yeah. Mr. Robert Pattinson. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, so that's all that I could really find on Malthus. Like, he's just very war-based.
Gotcha.
Construction-based.
Yeah.
And that's basically who he is. And is also in The Lesser Key of Solomon.
He's kind of like the Hephaestus of demons.
Yeah. You could say that. And then I wanted to do a little bit of research on Annabelle herself, like the actual doll.
Yes, the actual doll.
So,
because it's a real doll.
It's a real doll, but it is actually a Raggedy Ann doll. Yes. I know a lot of people know this story, but if you've never
see the tie to
it
at the end of the film.
Yeah,
because
they have pictures.
Adoptee parents hand her a Raggedy Ann, which is the actual doll
Annabelle doll
is.
So Annabelle doll, like the Annabelle doll, is based off of a real doll who is supposedly possessed by a demon.
Mm-hmm. And is in a locked fucking do not touch box.
Yeah, it says warning, positively do not open.
Yes.
I think I would say negatively do not open.
I would say don't even make eye contact with thing.
Yeah, no. Like, looking at the pictures, I was kind of like going like that.
Yeah.
Like hiding behind the hand. So it doesn't go back to the 1950s. The first ever haunting and first ever mention of the Annabelle doll is in 1970. And you'll find out later in like the next, I think it's the next one. We do Annabelle soon. Is Annabelle like the
Annabelle,
next
I think,
one?
is in the next collection.
Yeah.
The next episode.
You will find out more of like that history, but I will say that basically the doll was a gift to this nurse named Donna. And Donna lived in an apartment with her roommate, Angie. And the doll kept moving around, writing little notes for them. They brought in a psychic medium who held a seance, and they told the girls that the doll was inhabited by a deceased 7-year-old girl.
Gotcha.
Annabelle Higgins. So, which is interesting, because that's not Mullins.
No.
First of all, that's not Mullins. The 7-year-old girl, this Annabelle girl, her body had been found years earlier on the site of their apartment building.
Gotcha.
So that's where that came from. And the
that's
medium,
like the actual origins.
This is the actual origins. And the medium told them that the spirit was nice, like was kind, benevolent, all of these things. And all they wanted was to be loved and cared for.
Yeah.
Obviously not
true
reality.
Yeah.
In the movie,
they give permission.
They're like, okay, yes, we give you permission, because that kind of,
in the
which is a little confusing.
Annabelle film, like Annabelle, not Annabelle Creation.
Yeah.
But Annabelle, we get the after effect moment, because they've got them on the couch and they're like, we're giving you this because it's fucking causing shit.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Annabelle Creation, it's the parents. Eventually, it was one of those situations where her spirit was walking around doing shit and then asked to go into the doll.
Yeah.
And then they let it go into the doll.
Mm-hmm.
Only to then find out that they fucked up.
Yeah. So that's why I'm a little confused with this whole thing of, like, why Annabelle was tormenting them, asking to...
Well, because initially in the film, they weren't being tormented. She was just active around the home, but, like, kind of out of the corner of the eye, you would see a glimpse of her.
No.
And things like that.
Well, in the film.
Yeah,
in reality...
In reality, she was, like, fucking around and walking around and doing shit.
Yeah, because one of the... I think it was Angie's boyfriend. His name is Lou. He was in the apartment while both of the girls were out, and it said that he was attacked and that he had a searing pain in his chest, and he found claw marks on it.
Yeah.
And then they went away. And so that's why the girls invited the psychic medium over
but also there's that side of demons that it's like they are very deceptive. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised that the medium was like, oh, they're fine. Bop-a-da-bop.
Yeah.
It's because the medium wasn't looking close enough.
Yeah. So when things got worse and the girls wanted the spirit out of their home, they then called a priest who called another priest who then called Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah.
Who was finally brought in and all of these things. So, but yes, the doll was basically asking the girls to take permanent residence in the doll.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm a little confused, because it already has residence in the doll. So it's like...
I would think it's like it wasn't maybe fully attached. And that is a little iffy, but it's one of those situations
like that's a small little plot hole, I think.
I don't think it was. Here's what I will say. If they're saying that it asked for permission to enter the doll, I don't think it was attached or possessing the doll yet. I think it was just moving the doll.
But in Annabelle Creation,
she had not possessed the doll yet. She was just a ghost in the home being perceived.
Who then asked the Mullins if they could have permission, so they granted it permission, and that's when it attacked her.
Yes.
So it's already in the doll, so I'm a little confused why it's asking again.
The demon asked permission to enter the doll in the movie.
And the Mullins said yes.
And then it existed as the kid until they started noticing things.
So they locked the doll up in the room.
They attempted to confront it, got attacked, locked the doll up.
And then the doll got out. So the demon is still attached to the doll.
Yes, the demon is still attached to the doll.
That's why I'm confused why it's asking these girls if it can take up residence in the doll, because it's already in the doll.
What I'm saying is, this is the actual history. The film is its own thing.
Oh my God!
Separate.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right. I'm talking about the movies, though.
Yes. In the movies, there's a purpose.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
The film, it probably was fucking with the doll and then asked for permission to go into the doll.
I understand that this is the reality part of it, but even in the movies,
it asks for permission.
Yes.
So that is the only thread between the two of them that is accurate.
Yeah. But it's still like, in the movies, they kind of messed that up. Obviously, this is the reality.
Yes.
And they just needed something previously.
They needed a purpose as to why the doll is cursed and haunted.
Yes.
They needed a reason why. So they gave it a reason.
A huge movie with a big old box office reason.
So
but yeah, I understand that this is the reality of it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying
that's
is that
the one thread that they kept the same, is that it was fucking around with the doll and then asked for permission to enter the doll.
So that's like the one plot hole between the movies that it's like, that doesn't really make sense.
That is different. Because she's not really fucking with the doll. She is just existing in the house and then asks for permission to enter the doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah. But that's also what they show in the movie. Which, yeah. Anyway. Off of the doll and back on to Valak. and demons and stuff. There was a little theory that I came across about Sister Charlotte, because we find out that Sister Charlotte is actually from the Romanian convent that Sister Irene and Father Burke investigated in that first Nun movie.
Yes.
Because
the convent that, quote, quote, had no survivors.
Had no survivors, quote, quote. However, Sister Charlotte shows up with all these orphans and has a picture of a bunch of nuns from the convent, and Mr. Mullins comes in. I'm pretty sure it's Mr. Mullins, and he looks at the photo, and there's a little glimmer of a certain little demon that we know posing as a nun.
Yep.
In the photo, and she dismisses it so fast.
Oh, yeah.
So fast. So the theory here is that Sister Charlotte is actually possessed by Valak, which honestly makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It does. It just does. I feel like out of all of the houses that they could have gone to, and all of the people that they could have,
they chose the one.
They chose the one with another demon.
The one with the demon that that if she is possessed by Valak would know.
Yeah.
And intentionally brought someone who was, quote, quote, more weaker of spirit. That would then be enticed and let loose. Another
It just feels very set up, and Sister Charlotte is at the middle of like all of it.
Because honestly, Sister Charlotte fucking got scot effing free. No injuries, nothings. No. Not really like harmed. Just
the only thing that freaked her out was the little the dumbwaiter. It just opened.
Yeah.
That's it. And then in the one scene where Janice is being pushed into the workshop,
because Mr. Mullins got fucked up.
Ooh, Mr. Mullins got really bad.
And when Sister Charlotte saw it, she was just kind of like, oh my God.
But what I'm saying is when Janice is pushed into the workshop, we think it's an entity posing as Sister Charlotte.
Yeah.
But it could also just be Sister Charlotte. Because you see her hands and like her shoes and like her whole outfit.
Yeah.
And you don't really see her face.
Yeah.
But it still could just be Sister Charlotte.
Because it's a similar concept like Frenchie.
Yes.
It's the same concept like Frenchie. It's like a pseudo, they might not know that they are.
Yeah. He was still there and he still had elements of himself all the time. And every once in a while, Valak would come out and
be a dick.
Yeah. Just like Sister Charlotte could.
And we'll get into that more in the next.
And also, like, if the demon is locked in the room behind all these Bible pages, how did Janice get all these notes?
Exactly.
That could have also been a Sister Charlotte thing. However, Sister Charlotte could have also just gone in and unlocked it for them. If
the idea that Sister Charlotte is being possessed by it, then the repellent of it would be the same concept.
Yeah. Yes. And also, if you want a person who is of weaker spirit to get, more invested into wanting or being more willing to get possessed, you have to start from the beginning.
Because initially, the notes that Janice receives happens at night. Because she receives the first one, I think.
I thought it was
find me.
First thing. Like, they get in there, it's daytime. Because she goes in and she
Because I know she was sleeping.
Oh, wait.
No, she was sleeping and she heard something and got up and under the door slips a note.
The first time she tries to open it is daytime, but it's locked, so she doesn't go in. The first time she goes into the room,
but I'm saying
it's nighttime.
The first time she receives a note.
I'm pretty sure it was daytime.
I don't know. We'd have to look back. But for me, I thought it was at nighttime.
The first time she goes into the room, yes.
No, I'm saying the first time she receives a note is nighttime.
Because Mr. Mullins comes up.
They're in the bunk bed.
They just got there. So I'm at least from my memory, this is how I'm remembering it. Like, it was daytime. Like, that's the note. And then, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Fine. We'd have to look because it's one of those situations. But, yeah.
And then later that night, she gets another one. And
Yeah,
that's
I
why
don't
she
know.
goes in.
I don't know. We'd have to check that out.
But yeah, that's what I got for that.
Okay.
It's crazy. Now for
Juan Star Refuses.
yes. Not bad. Scary at times, but this film lost me when it portrayed violence to children. That's a no-no. No matter how creative, air quotes, or graphic you want to look as a film director, it's an unspoken taboo to portray harm to children through whatever media. This film goes further to vividly portray violence to a child living with a disability. Taboo of all taboos. So for me, it was an X, not a tick after that.
You're an idiot. Have you watched any movies?
There's always a child in horror films.
Every fucking, even non-horror films, there is always peril to children.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any idea? The most prolific films of the horror genre that are fucking about children and horrific things that happen to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is like trying to say that it's the taboo of all taboos.
It's not.
No, it is not, because it's done all the time.
And the thing is, the disabled child in this instance does not really get harmed.
Yeah, the disabled child does not get harmed.
She is the main antagonist. She's the main character in this movie.
She's the main antagonist. Yes.
So who becomes the?
She's a victim she's a victim of the creature.
Yes.
That becomes the monster.
But she lives.
Yeah, she lives.
So it's fine.
And grows up and kills her family.
Mom and her dad. Yeah. So I thought that was very...
Yeah.
What the hell? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But the next one... Utter shite. It was my first horror movie ever, and I almost fell asleep. I had to have a drink just to make it through the whole thing. I'd rather have drunk puddle water. Okay. I would not recommend it. What, puddle water or the movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't get why people seem to think this is a good movie, because it's really not. So don't get your hopes up. Stick to the classics like Scream. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time is what it says.
I'm sorry, did you just say that you've never watched a horror film and then you say stick to the classics like Scream? You understand Scream is a horror movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
stupid can you be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like truly, how dumb can you be? Also, how would you know that Scream was a classic? If you're like, this is the first horror film I've watched.
So clearly you have no information about
about
this genre.
Yes, Scream is 100% a classic.
For sure.
But why the fuck were you acting like this was your first film and then be like, it's not great, go to the classics like Scream? And I'm just like, well, yes, you start with the fucking classics.
This is what screams to me. I was paid to write this.
Yes. I was paid to write this, and I outed myself that I'm an idiot. Because
yes,
if you know that there are movies that are classics in the horror genre, you watch those first. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but that's what you do. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, you can start with newer stuff, but if you really want to get into the horror genre, you have to become familiar with the most iconic characters that everyone knows and recognizes. So Michael Myers, Ghostface, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Pennywise. You have to you have to recognize them. You have to be like, oh, I know who they are. A Chucky. You have to recognize them and kind of understand them. So that's why you start with those classics. Also, because they're fucking older, they're easier to watch because it's not as technologically advanced as we are now. So they're a little easier to watch. And then you can step your toes into the more modern stuff, if you so choose.
I don't know. I kind of started off with modern and then dipped my toes into the classic kind of stuff. But,
But the difference is that you liked horror movies, but you liked horror movies because you liked horror movies. I don't know if you were like initially that deep into the horror genre.
No, not at all.
Whereas for me, I dove headfirst into the horror genre and just was like, I need to know the most iconic
That's
people.
definitely what you did. I did not. I was kind of just like, oh, I like these horror movies that are coming out. Let me watch them. And then it just kind of became a thing over my life. But more recently, it's that I've been going into.
You've been more deeper in. And especially this year, you'll get to have more of that deeper understanding and recognition of some of these most iconic characters.
And I already feel like I do.
Exactly.
Like, just through the past year.
Because I spent literally my initial time just watching all of the classic, like, our generation's considered classic films for horror.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that was what I got.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was Annabelle Creation.
So that means we will be moving on to The Nun 2. This story takes place in 1956 France, when a priest is raised in the air and burned alive by a familiar demon in front of a small boy. A man walks away from the church with an evil nun-shaped shadow behind him. We then discover our friendly neighborhood sister Irene has taken residence in a cozy convent in France. One night, she has a vision of Frenchie, who seems to still have a connection to the evil they both faced in Romania. The next morning, Sister Irene is called back once again to investigate a series of evil incidents moving west, originating from Romania. Irene tries to refuse, but ends up taking a train with another nun, Sister Deborah, to look for clues. A small girl named Sophie gets bullied by a few girls at St. Mary's boarding school for girls. They take her into the chapel, which is in ruins and supposed to be off limits to the students. The girls scare Sophie with a stained glass window of the devil in the form of a goat. The goat's eye turns red and then fades back to black as the girls lock Sophie inside. Sophie screams after seeing the dark entity as our beloved Frenchie saves the day and helps her out of the chapel.
Later that night, the head mistress of the school hears a noise coming from the chapel and goes to investigate. When she enters, she sees a vision of her son that died in the bombings from World War II in that same chapel. Valak then grabs the boy's shoulder from behind, and the boy attacks his mother, killing her. The next day, Kate, who is Sophie's mom and one of the teachers at the school, discovers the headmistress's body, and most of the children are sent home. During her investigation, Sister Irene has another vision of Valak and Saint Lucy, the saint of the blind whose eyes were gouged out by pagans. Irene decides to go to the Vatican archives for some help, when she is told by the librarian that Valak might be after St. Lucy's eyes to gain more power, and that they might be hidden at the boarding school. Irene and Deborah steal a cab and rush to get the eyes before Valak is able to find the ancient relic.
Spoiler warning, skip ahead. Before the sisters arrive, Maurice, Sophie, and her mom, Kate, dance together in a sweet family moment. Abruptly, Maurice collapses to the floor in pain, and Kate notices an upside-down cross on the back of his neck. Suddenly, Valak rips through a painting, Sharky, causing Maurice to grab Kate and Sophie and run away, down the corridors of the school. While running, the group runs into Irene and Deborah, where Irene then screams at Maurice to get away from the girls. With Maurice obviously confused, Irene explains that he is still possessed. Immediately, Valak takes over Maurice's body and heads straight for the chapel. Irene and Deborah chase him down, knock him out, and tie him up. Before he can wake up, the rest of the group work together to find St. Lucy's eyes. Sophie tells the group about the goat eye in the stained glass window, which they use to find where the eyes are buried. Once they find the eyes, Sophie notices that the goat image in the window is now gone.
Some of the girls who were not able to go home after the headmistress's death hear stomping coming from upstairs. While going to investigate, they see Deborah, who has come to see what's going on. They shine a flashlight towards the top floor and see a glimpse of a furry figure with horns. The figure begins to growl and then run down the stairs, revealing itself to be the devil in the form of a goat. Terrifying.
Literally terrifying.
Ugh. The goat then begins to terrorize and chase Deborah and the rest of the girls through the school. Maurice has now woken up and is out for vengeance. He storms into the chapel, attacks Irene and Kate for the eyes, but before he can take them, Sophie grabs them and runs up to the top of the bell tower to hide.
Maurice finds Sophie, but as he attacks, the eyes begin to glow from their container and causes a small quake that destroys the bell tower. Irene, Deborah, Sophie, and Maurice all end up in the basement of the bell tower. Maurice manages to get a hold of the eyes, and Valak takes their power. Valak attacks everyone in the basement, exploding barrels of wine and causing even more destruction. Valak turns her attention to target Irene and sets her on fire. But right before Irene is killed by Valak, she has a vision of her mom, discovering that she is actually related to St. Lucy. Irene uses this power to put the fire out, turn the wine pooling on the floor into the blood of Christ, dousing Valak with the liquid and defeating the demon once again. The goat has now returned to the window, and everyone is safe. In a flash to the future, Ed and Lorraine Warren get a call about an urgent matter from Father Gordon. The end.
Boop, boop.
Alrighty.
Yeah, this is the one I have no idea how many jump scares there are.
Yeah, it's still literally brand effing new.
Yeah.
It's still a new film. It has not been out very long.
It's been out for 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months. Not
It's been
not long
4
enough.
months.
Yes,
That's
it's been 4 months.
It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the first week of your month-long birthday celebration that we went to the movies.
Yep.
To go watch this.
Yes, it was. It was
Yes,
a month long. Don't judge me for it. I'm never doing it again.
It was her 21st, so it was understandable.
Whew. I don't recommend it, though. I was exhausted. I was beat.
So, obviously, this movie was released September 8th, 2023. The director is Michael Chavez. Distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures, based on characters by James Wan and Gary Doberman. And the cinematographer is Tristan Naibai. Now, what was their budget?
Their budget was actually pretty hefty for this one.
What was
they
it?
had almost a $39 million budget, which is a lot more than they had for Annabelle Creation. And I want to say The Nun as well. Yeah, because The Nun only had 22 million, so that's almost double.
But their box office was $268.1 million.
Which is obviously crazy. Not as much as the other two.
No, not as much as the other two, but still very hefty.
A lot. Yes.
Definitely very hefty. And we will have, obviously, repeat cast in this film, but with a few extra exceptions.
We obviously have Thaisa Farmiga as Sister Irene, Jonas Bloquet as Frenchie, also known as Maurice. We have Bonnie Aarons as the Demon Nun again. But this time we have our added people such as Anna Popplewell as Kate, Storm Reed as Deborah, and do you have Sophie?
Yes, Caitlin Rose Downey as Sophie.
Yes. Very cool. I don't know why I don't have that on here. I remember looking at it and then I guess I didn't type it in, but that's okay. It's okay. But yeah, that's our cast.
Yeah.
Some simple facts. And now let's get on to some behind the
Yes.
scenes.
So, obviously the set design for the film engrosses viewers in a terrifying religious world.
Again.
Making places of worship akin to that of nightmares. From start to finish, the various dark and brooding setting set the tone for the movie, fully immersing the viewer in the realm of terror the characters find themselves in. So, obviously, the sequel to the saga of the Conjuring films, this is the sequel to The Nun, is set in the south of France, and obviously continues the story of the demon Valak. And the visual effects were created mainly by the French team at MPC and BUF. So from the beginning, Michael Chavez had a clear idea of a visual choreography creating tension and suspense. The Nun would take shape in the form of moving like photographs and magazine images.
That was so cool.
This was one of the coolest scenes. So they had this. So there's a scene where Irene is trying to talk with the boy from the first instance of the film because she's meets him and is trying to get information from him, and she chases him thinking, you know, she's gonna catch him.
Yes.
And at the end of this like hall, you get this newsstand that slowly starts to flip pages
In
rapidly,
all the magazines that are on the
and
stand.
all of a sudden all of the pages slowly go up and start to form the visage of the nun, which is a really cool fucking scene. As the pages turned, they would combine to form obviously the new face, and Valak would confront Irene in an attempt at a final showdown, but, you know, unsuccessful. So the sequence required close collaboration between departments at MPC with technical complexity at every level. The design of the assembly of faces on the magazine pages, the movement rhythm, and the evolution of these designs were managed by the motion design department. The result was like a flattened view of the entire kiosk, with each magazine animated over the total duration of the scene.
Yeah.
So all of the pages were animated. They had to recreate 83 magazines in 3D to have sufficient control to make artistic decisions at the level of a single page.
That's crazy. That's
Sometimes even just one side of the page. So they had to recreate 83 magazines with the ability to control the pages and the sides of the pages that they landed on. So it's really freaking cool.
It's a stunning scene. Obviously, it's freaky.
It's really terrifying. I also love
But it's beautiful.
that. So after a certain amount of time, I feel like after the Conjuring films, anytime there was like something in reference to Valak, you would see the letters of Valak's name formed on things. So like that scene as she's running to chase the boy and trying to search for him, you see the letters of Valak's name
spell out throughout each scene.
Before that scene.
In The Nun, like in the first movie, when Sister Irene and Father Burke go to get Frenchie, or like they meet Frenchie for the first time, and they help him, or he helps them to the convent. As a truck is driving away, on the license plate you can see Valak on it. So there's definitely a common theme throughout each movie involving Valak.
So clearly Valak,
where you get its name,
is
however
the Thanos of the Conjuring universe.
However, you don't get to know they never specifically state Valak's name.
No.
Until later in the franchise.
Yes. And that would be the first Conjuring film, right?
The second Conjuring film.
Because it's the carving and the everything like that. But yeah. So also, the opening scene of The Nun 2 shows a priest on fire.
Yes.
It was unexpected, but somehow fun to create because they added this scene. It's a combination of practical and CGI elements.
That makes sense.
So it was
obviously
crazy.
You have to raise them into the air.
Had to like they both were tracking real fire and fake fire.
Real?
So they had like real fire and they had fake fire. And both of them had to be tracked so that they
Do you mean real fire
work.
as in like
a
artificial fire and then CGI fire? Or do you mean like actual real fire and then like the type of artificial fire?
like, well, what are you saying when you say artificial fire?
Because they have scenes where like they light people on fire, but it's not like...
I mean, that's still fire. There's no like third
But it's
party
not like
fire.
painful. Like it's not really...
Well, no, because
real.
they usually... It is real fire.
Obviously it's real, but it's not... It doesn't hurt people.
Well, no shit. All fire in movies don't hurt people.
Oh my god.
They're all just fire or CGI fire.
Never mind.
But yes, it is real fire because they're not just going to set actual people on fire.
That's why I was confused. I was like, what do
don't-
you mean?
They don't actually set real people on fire. I love you. They don't
I proved my hair color.
They don't set real people on fire and then put some people in suits to protect them from fire and then make fake fire.
In every episode, I prove my hair color. I just do.
So that was a very, very cool kind of like idea. But the fact that they had to like track how the flames moved is fascinating. Oh, and there is an like aerial scene of like the city and stuff in like there's like a aerial view of like the town and stuff.
Yeah.
And like the boarding school. It is so
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
it's an aerial shot where they discover the abbey where the story begins.
Yes.
They had a significant constraint because the church attached to the convent did not match the director's vision. So, and the lighting during the shoot was not consistent with the rest of the sequence. So it was a very complicated shot to imagine and set up. So the reconstruction of the set started with motion tracking that had to be perfect throughout the depth of the city. In parallel, they had constructed several concept tests to see how much it was possible to transform the overall lighting of the shot into directional lighting that was supposed to evoke early morning light. Once everyone agreed on the look of the shot, they 3D cut out every house in the shot.
That's a lot.
And this neighborhood by neighborhood, it was a titanic job. Once it was done, it was fantastic. And then they could calculate like lights and shadows and all that kind of stuff. But like there's kind of like a courtyard scene where there's like a fountain and a car and like people walking around. That is fake. That is all made up.
Pardon?
For that shot.
Okay.
Even the tower. The tower
Oh, the bell
like
tower?
had to be put in, and it was just so elaborate.
Wow.
For just a small shot.
Yeah.
It's not a long scene.
That's really sad then, because a lot of people hated on this movie. Like, they just did.
And there was a lot of work put in.
A lot.
Like
yeah.
a lot. But yeah.
Yeah.
So what you got for me?
I don't have a whole lot, because obviously we've already talked about Valak.
Yeah.
And Valak's, you know, little baby angel and two-headed dragon.
Yeah.
Who's now a demon. So I wanted to talk about St. Lucy and the history of St. Lucy, also known as Lucia of Syracuse. A lot of St. Lucy. Yeah.
To get that real wet mouth smell. I just said smell.
Yeah, I heard that. I was going to say, smell?
Because
Question
you
mark?
literally just were like, St. Lucy. You had like a pause.
No way I did that.
Every word had a... You just did it.
I know I did.
You just did it again.
That one was unintentional. It's because I have a lot of spit right here on the top of my teeth.
At this point, you just need to let yourself, see if you just let yourself drool. Because clearly something's going on.
You want me to? Okay. My mouth will sound very interesting. It'll be all... Blah, blah, blah.
You already sounded like you were drowning earlier in this episode, so trust me, I'm going to have fun with that one later. You sound like you were choking on your own spit.
That might have been what was happening
earlier in this episode.
I don't know. Anything that happens with my mouth is totally involuntary. I don't know what to tell you.
It's wild.
Other than my speech, everything is involuntary. Sometimes even my speech.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, St. Lucy, she was born in 283 AD
Mm-hmm.
to a wealthy family in Romanian. To wealthy Roman parents in Syracuse.
Gotcha.
So her father was a Roman nobleman, and her mom had more Greek origins. When Lucy's father died when she was 5. So it was just Lucy and her mom. Lucy, pretty much her whole life, was Christian, and that was very dangerous for people if you were in Rome at that time, because it was very pagan.
Gotcha. It was before Roman Catholic.
Yeah. It was a very pagan area during this time. So when she was really young, she always knew that she would have to marry. However, she, from a young age, promised her virginity to God so that she could live a celibate life.
Gotcha.
She didn't want to marry. She wanted to give her dowry to the poor people because obviously she comes from a wealthy family. So she wanted to stay celibate and she wanted to give her dowry to the poor.
So essentially she wanted to become a nun.
Basically.
Is essentially what it was.
Yeah, she just wanted to
it's
promise
what we
herself
know
to
is
God.
like, you know.
Mm-hmm. So her mom arranged a marriage for Lucy without knowing that she had made this promise.
Gotcha.
So she set up a marriage for her with this man from a wealthy pagan family. Part of the reason her mom set this marriage up so quickly was because Lucy's mom, her health suddenly became really bad.
Gotcha. And she didn't want her
it was an unknown bleeding disorder. So she wanted to make sure that Lucy would be well taken care of when she was going to pass. Lucy, at a certain point in her life, got a vision which told her that her mom would be cured because of how strong Lucy's faith was.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, she would get glory and honor in her future. When she got this vision, her mom was away on some pilgrimage to the shrine of St. Agatha, which is another Christian martyr from earlier Roman eras. When her mom finally did come home, her mom's health actually did get better. Like, she actually improved.
Nice.
So, Lucy shared this vision that she had of all this glory and honor and shared that with her mom and asked her mom for permission to give her dowry to the poor people. So her mom tried to convince her to do that once she was gone, like once Lucy had passed.
Gotcha.
So it was more like in her will.
Gotcha.
Like,
in her will. So she would live her life, and then in her will, she would give whatever she got away.
From her dowry. Yeah, that would go away. Lucy denied that. She said she wants to give her riches away right now while she was still alive so she can see, like, the fruits of her givings. Not when she was dead and didn't need them anymore. Word of this got back to her pagan fiancé.
Her prospective fiancé,
who told on her.
Oh, shit.
Basically told on her. And so the governor of Syracuse wanted to force Lucy to prove her devotion to the empire and its religious practices by burning a sacrifice to an icon of the emperor. But she refused. She said no. This is where it gets a little
graphic.
A little graphic and a little trigger warning.
I mean, horror movies, so, you know.
the governor of Syracuse then sentenced Lucy to be raped in a brothel as punishment for her refusal to do these things.
That's so fucked up.
Yes.
Regardless of religious practices on either side of that, you just don't do that.
Yes. However, in the lore and in this piece of history, it is said that when the soldiers tried to take her away, she was unable to move. Like, they couldn't move her.
Yeah.
Obviously, even though if a bunch of soldiers come and try to take you, one small girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But apparently she was unmovable. So, there's another depiction as, like, why she lost her eyes. Like, there's multiple reasons stated. So, there are theories that it could have been torture by her captors.
Gotcha.
Or she did it to herself to discourage the pagan men from, like, wanting her.
Yeah, because I thought there was that theory that it was, like, I guess because she was also beautiful.
Yeah.
And that, like, the idea that she took her own eyes out so that, to, like, dissuade the men.
Yes. After all of this, they eventually killed her by stabbing her with a sword in the neck.
Mm.
But it is said that when her family went to bury her, her eyes had been restored.
Oh.
Which is very interesting. I don't know. But that is why she is dubbed the patron saint of the blind, just because of all of these things that happened to her and what is said. But as other than the blind, it's also said that she's the patron saint of authors and craftsmen, laborers, martyrs. And I guess they have like a St. Lucy festival in Sicily every year.
That's interesting.
And they have a little thing. Yeah, because she's also the patron saint of Syracuse in Sicily, Italy, where she spent her life. Like, that's where she lived. And there's a little island called St. Lucia that considers St. Lucy to be their patroness.
Gotcha.
So there's just a whole lot of stuff. I mean, it was just weird to me because in The Nun, too, the way they say that pagans just killed St. Lucy was a little off-putting to me because I'm not a fan of...
Because we would consider ourselves pagan.
I'm not a fan of villainizing pagans. Obviously, in history, there's some bad shit that they've done. But there's a lot of bad shit that everybody
quite
has
annihilated
done.
by the Christian religion.
Yes. So it's kind of back and forth here.
Yeah.
I mean...
Both sides are shitty to some degree.
Yeah. Nobody in history
is squeaky clean.
Is squeaky clean. I bet not even St. Lucy.
Hell no.
There's no way. Everyone makes mistakes. Unless you are genuinely
Everybody's got those days.
No, because it ran through my head.
I
was just like, no. But it just kind of... I wanted to research this because I didn't really like the way that they were just like, she was ruined by pagans.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a little bit more research. And yes, they did some really shitty things to her.
But there's really always shitty people on every side.
It's true. It's true. It's funny because they made her look like a saint or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that's because she is. But yeah, I do have a tiny little theory.
Yeah.
I caught this the last time we watched it, which was yesterday.
Oh.
But when Sister Irene is having the vision of her mom.
Yeah.
To know she's related to St. Lucy. I caught this. I don't know if you caught this, but there was a quick little snippet of Lorraine Warren. Her eyes were in there.
Oh.
Which...
So there's a chance that Lorraine Warren may be a descendant of Irene,
of St. Lucy and related to Irene. Because there's only a 20-year difference between the nun and...
the first Conjuring.
Yeah. So, like, obviously they're alive in the same era.
It means that there's a chance she could have had kids.
No, like, they could be cousins or something.
Oh, you're saying... I was thinking like
Sister Irene had a child. No, I'm saying like they could be
like
cousins or
cousins or something.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking. Like they're related in some way. But
Gotcha.
Sister Irene seems very into her nun state.
Nunness.
Her nunness. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And then I like looked more into it online, and that's what a lot of people are saying, like that, oh, you may not have noticed it. And I was like, but I did. But I did. So, which is really cool, since Lorraine Warren and Sister Irene, both of their actresses are actually sisters in real life. So
yeah,
that's what makes it really cool.
That'll be interesting to see how they play that out, because that's a reveal in the newest Conjuring film, which means that is a hint towards the future. And the idea that obviously the reasons why you'll find out later why Valak is very attentive on fucking with
why that's what I thought. I was like, oh, since they're related, that makes sense as to why she would be so intent on attacking Lorraine.
Yeah.
Just because of who she's descended upon.
That'll be interesting.
By who she's related to.
It'll be interesting to see how they move forward with all of it.
Yeah. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Now.
1 stars?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was going through these, and a lot of the 1 stars had a lot of people begging for James Wan to take the reins again. Like in most of the things that I was reading, it was like, where's James Wan? Where's James Wan? He needs to come back.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree, to be honest.
But I mean, the story's by James Wan.
It is. It's just like he's not as prominent into everything like that, the way people want him to be. But that's okay. One of these said,
I see your face.
I was saving that for last.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
This one is, teens will think it's terrifying. Just another mediocre Blumhouse film. Nothing fresh, clever, or original. Don't be sad if you miss it at the cinema. Just catch it on Netflix next year. Bad nun kills a few people. Good nun saves the day. Evil sharp-toothed nun has about 5 minutes screen time, usually playing peekaboo from the shadows. I have a feeling a lot of these 5-star reviews calling the negative reviews fake are fake themselves. Movie kind of sucks.
It's just dumb.
Yeah. First, Blumhouse?
Yeah.
No. Second, Netflix? It's on Max.
It's on Max.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And what a disheartening little summary you've got there.
Very, very... Oh, man. I'm just like... It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, ooh, the ignorance oozing from that comment. Yeah, I don't know, but...
Yeah, the Blumhouse it's not one of Blumhouse's films.
It's not.
I don't know why they said Blumhouse. Because that just doesn't make any sense. It's not a Blumhouse production.
Just another mediocre Blumhouse film, you know?
Also, Blumhouse is fantastic.
Right?
Fuck you.
Blumhouse is incredible.
They make amazing films. Thanks.
This next one is kind of like, no, I kind of agree. But maybe not on this level.
Gotcha.
It was like, okay. They said, I am so fed up with the innuendo or blatant disrespect of pagans. In these newer movies, most especially Hereditary and Midsommar. But the blasphemy of so blithely and flippantly saying pagans cut out St. Lucia's eyes for the sake of a Hollywood crock of a movie is nauseating. Pay attention, folks. Next thing you know, they'll be burning witches at the stake again.
Okay. It was angry about something different than just the story.
Yes. It feels a little much. Like, that feels a little too angry.
Little
I mean, yes, it kind of like irked me a small amount.
Literally like a one-off sentence.
It was mentioned, twice.
Literally, it was twice. They literally, they saw the painting of it and said, this is who it is, and this is how she lost her eyes.
And then in the Vatican, they mention it again.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's it.
It's a one-sentence thing.
Yeah.
So it irked me the smallest amount, but also I didn't know the history of it either.
Yeah.
And then I did the research, and it was pagans. However, the way they went about it was a little meh. I don't think that people are going to be burning witches at the stake. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're a couple 100 years away from that. Anyway, my final 1-star review of the podcast episode.
Yes.
Absolutely horrific. I took my 3-year-old expecting it to be child-friendly. However, my child was terrified the whole way through and has been having nightmares so terrible she has wet the bed on multiple occasions. I am extremely disappointed in Warner Brothers. 1 out of 5 stars. Do better. The fact that you're outing your child saying that they wet the bed, that's mean.
How stupid.
Did you not watch the trailer?
There's no fucking way. No. It's not even just, did you watch the trailer?
No, I know it's
for
not
a
just the
damn
trailer.
fact.
But it's like pictures.
There's a 50-50. You know damn fact that if they walked up to the theater.
Yep. Saw the movie poster.
To purchase tickets.
Right.
That they would say, this is an R-rated film, not meant for small children. You know for a damn fact, this is that bitch who's like, well, I want to bub-a-da-bub, and I'm going to go anyway, and fuck you, give me my goddamn tickets. You know that's one of those people, and then thinks that they can turn around and bitch and complain.
And at the same time...
when they brought a child to an R-rated film.
Yeah.
Are you stupid? It literally, when you're looking at the fucking marquee of the fucking movie, it shows you its rating. It shows you its rating. It does not say PG-13. It says R.
And at
for
the
obvious
same
reasons.
at the same time, does this mean you sat through the entire thing with your child?
Yes.
The fact that they had nightmares and are now peeing themselves at night?
Like, did that kid not scream or cry because they were fucking 3?
Did it not kick into your brain that maybe you should get out of there?
Yeah.
Even beforehand, you should have seen the movie poster and been like,
Yeah, the poster's enough to be like, maybe this is not family friendly.
Yeah. But on the other hand of that, it's also kind of a compliment to the film.
Yes.
The fact that
It's truly
was
terrifying.
super scary.
But also, how fucking stupid can you be to bring
Like,
a
that
fucking
child is going to
3-year-old?
actually have nightmares, like, for the rest of their lives. They're going to be traumatized by horror films.
That's going to be religious trauma.
Ooh.
In a way that no one expected.
Yeah.
Because a mom decided to be fucking entitled and stupid.
Yep. Not
Instead
do
of
better
being-
to Warner Bros. Do better yourself, babe.
Do better yourself. Like, how stupid can you be? Do you not look up a film, like, at all before you go watch it? Like, at all? Like, at least, like, what genre
Like,
the film's in.
I want to go watch Mean Girls, but that's because it's a musical, A, and B, I already know what Mean Girls is. So, and it's got my girl Renee Rapp in it. So,
And it's like, even some of the films that are out that I want to see, like, I know if it's a fantasy or a sci-fi or a horror, like, you literally...
I know the genre.
How did you not, like, A, possibly see a trailer, B, not look up the movie,
Or like a clip of it.
literally,
and, like,
even
ads.
if you fucking bought this movie ticket online, it would still tell you it is a horror movie with an R rating.
Yep.
There's no fucking way in the entire process of you getting the tickets for this movie that you just mysteriously didn't realize it was a horror movie.
What do you mean you expected it to be child friendly?
Are you stupid?
Yes.
Are you stupid?
Yes.
For real. Just unnecessary.
But yeah, I thought that was a good way to finish out. That was really funny to me.
Yeah.
Not for that child, unfortunately.
Nope.
They will forever be scarred.
And have religious trauma and be afraid of nuns for the rest of their life.
Watch them do, 180.
Oh,
Become a nun.
Oh, yeah.
Do you, boo?
Yeah. Alrighty.
Or priest, whatever the gender of their child is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something in religion.
Mm-hmm.
So like we said, this is the year of franchises. You've got to experience our new little format for franchises.
Mm-hmm.
And so regardless, going forward for future years and things like that, if we ever do multiple films from a similar franchise, this is the format we will do. We will still have single films at a certain point. That we will have our single films and still have the same format as we've done before. This is just so that we can get through more information because there are so many of certain films.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, March starts our Summer of Blood. So be ready for that.
Mm-hmm. We get that summer starts later, but
it works out.
You're welcome.
It's a
gift.
It works out. You know? So next week is our second episode of our Conjuring series.
Mm-hmm.
So look forward to that. 3 more films for us to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Send us an email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. You know, like, comment, subscribe, rate us on all of the things, 5 stars and hearts. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Horror Unmasked. Listen to us on Spotify and iTunes at Horror Unmasked Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to ask. Will you none?
Or will you not none?
Will you fear?
Or will you fear not?